Consider the good as a need. Man must consider the good to be a need, otherwise he will be tormented. And we can't say that some people aren't unable to understand the good as a need. I cannot justify this, for even a 5-year-old child can feel the good as a need. Let's say that a little child has a fever. The parents call the doctor and he tells them to hold the child firmly. While he gives the injection. Later the child, on seeing the doctor, will cry and run away. But if from the beginning they tell the child, look, you are sick, you have a fever and you can't go to school or go out to play, while the other children are playing, but if you let the doctor give you a little pinch in the arm, the fever will go away and you too will be able to go and play. The child will then directly close its eyes and stretch out its arm on its own. What I mean to say is that if the child can understand the good as a need, it's so much more true for an adult. From the moment someone understands what is right, the matter is settled. Suppose I suddenly say to you, I'll throw you out of the window. You understand what that means. Even a mentally challenged person can understand that if someone falls out of a window high above the ground, he will break his legs. He understands the difference between level ground and a dangerous cliff, what is good and what is evil. An adult who has read the gospel, the writings of the fathers, knows what is right. After that, it's only a matter of turning the button. But often you say to people, why do you do that? Don't you know it's not right? And they start. Well, sadly, that's how I am. I don't know why I am like this, but that's how I was before too. Forget what you were before. Right now, as I speak to you, what are you doing to correct yourself? It's different if they are incapable of understanding, but only an infant child will touch a burning coal instead of candy because it doesn't understand. How did your mother, who was so sensitive and who loved you, manage to give you and your siblings a strict upbringing from your earliest childhood years? One can be helped from a young age to grasp the deeper meaning of life and be happy for the right reasons. When I was a young boy, I could outrun the other children in the neighborhood. They didn't want me to raise them and would send me away. They called me the refugee boy. I would then go to my mother in tears. Why are you crying? She would ask. The other children won't let me run, I would say. You want to run? Here's our yard, run. Why do you want to run there? So others can see you and say bravo. This attitude has pride in it. Another time I wanted to play with a ball and the children wouldn't let me. Again, I went crying to my mother. What happened? Why are you crying again? She asked. They won't let me play with a ball, I said. We have a big yard, you have a ball, play there. Why do you want the other children to see you and admire you? This attitude has pride in it. Then it occurred to me. My mother is right. Gradually over time, I didn't want to run or play ball in front of others, because I realized that this attitude had pride in it, and I thought to myself, these really are useless things, mother is right. After that I got over the problem, and when I saw the other children running and kicking the ball with pride, I would smile and think to myself, what are they doing? And I was just a small child in the 3rd grade. From then on, I lived a normal and natural life. So now, if people ask me, would you prefer to climb Mount Athos barefoot in August or the briar leaves, or to go to a ceremony and be dressed with a cloak and so on, I will say I prefer to go barefoot up Mount Athos. Now this I say not out of humility, but because this is what pleases me and gives me peace. people who have pride were not helped at home in their childhood. The worldly frame of mind is tormenting for a man, and if this isn't noticed that parents don't help their children from a young age, pride then becomes an abiding condition. It's one thing to praise and encourage a child so he doesn't get disappointed, and quite another to fill up his mind with egoism. For example, a child recited a poem but did it poorly and was disappointed. Then the mother can encourage him by saying, "But you did well enough." But if the child says the poem well and the mother begins in front of others to say, "Bravo, yours was the best recitation of all the children. My child is the best," this is wrong and harmful to the child. This is how parents often cultivate pride in their children. Or to give you another example, a child misbehaves in school and is punished by the teacher. Then the child goes home and tells his parents, "The teacher punished me unfairly." When the father or mother supports the child and says in front of it, "I'll show that teacher my child is the best," then the child considers good what he did in school and is eventually tormented by useless things. The important thing is to teach the child a few basic things at home. If one grasps the deeper meaning of life from a young age, then everything goes well. Otherwise, one learns to be pleased with earthly things, with the praises of other men, which do not really please or comfort man, and he remains an earthly human being.